The Star Wars animated series has been released, Star Wars Visions, The Ninth Jedi, and we're here to talk about those first four episodes. So if you guys are ready, I'm not ready. Let's talk Star Wars and start the transmission.
Rebellions are built on hope.
And welcome to another episode of Radio Rebellion Star Wars Podcast. I'm your host, Alberto Calderon, and thank you for joining us on this Star Wars Saturday. As the summer is starting to come to an end, we're back. It's officially our first episode of Season 13 of Radio Rebellion, a Star Wars podcast. Thank you for everyone that has joined us on this journey of the past 6.5 years. You've been us since the beginning, or just started last week, or the week before, watching one of our previous videos. Thank you so much for being here. Our friend, our co-host Oti, again, is out today. He has a good reason. He's on vacation. He sent me a picture yesterday on white sandy beaches, blue skies, bright sun. So he's having fun out there. We'll be back next week as we review the latter half of Star Wars Visions. But today we'll focus on those first four episodes. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. How are you guys doing? Thank you for being here. I know we took a week off last week after doing a couple of book reviews, new novel reviews came out, like Star Wars Legacy came out last week. Our non-spoiler review for that is up. The first official Star Wars romance novel, Eyes Like Stars, also came out a couple of weeks ago. We have a review on that here on our channel and also on our website, so go check those out. But today, officially, we're starting our 13th season of the show. Kind of similar to what we've done before. If there's no Star Wars news, we're not forcing anything. We're not gonna just have a show to have a show. But if there's stuff to talk about, like today, we will be here. I want to, before we continue, let me get stuff together. I'm kind of all over the place right now. But if you're new to our channel, thank you for being here. If you've been here forever, again, thank you as always for sticking around. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, thumbs up, all that fun stuff so you don't miss any new episodes. Comment down below your thoughts on Star Wars Vision so far. How do you feel about these first four episodes? If you've seen the whole series, or if you haven't, where do you think it's going to, kind of where it's leading? Do you want to see a continuation of Visions, of The Ninth Jedi? Do you want different stories in Visions to have their own kind of longer season or limited series? Let us know. We'll talk about those or anything Star Wars related that you guys want. And if you're listening to the audio podcast, as always, thank you, and leave us a 5-star rating and review. We love reading those when those come in. Yeah. Joining us today is our friend, the General Dale Skywalker. Hello there, Dale. Hope that you're doing well today. And you're doing fine over there, same as everyone else. Hopefully is doing well today. Just talk about some of the recent book reviews we've done here on the channel. Thanks as always to Random House World and Random House Audio. I just got last week, about a week and a half ago, some new book arcs. So we're gonna start jumping into those soon. The second book in the Reign of the Empire trilogy, Edge of the Abyss by Rebecca Ronhouse. Thank you for sending that to me. I'll be reading that soon. I started kind of chapter 4, took a break because I also got sent some audiobooks, some unabridged audiobooks of Legends novel, both by James Luceno, so you know those are great. Cloak of Deception and Labyrinth of Evil. I started Cloak of Deception and past the halfway point. Those unabridged audiobooks come out next week on Tuesday, depends on when you're listening or watching us. Come out on Tuesday, so I started reading one of those, so I'll be able to get my review out sooner, a little quicker than I would if I went through HOWs first. So hopefully next week we'll have on our website my review of the new audiobook for this Legends novel, Cloak of Deception. Again, it's not a new book, it's a Legends book. It's the first time I believe it's been as an unabridged audiobook. So that's going to be fun to talk about those two in a couple of weeks. And then I'll jump into Edge of the Abyss that comes out, the embargo drops September 1st, and the book comes out September 15th. So still a month, a little bit over a month away, so there's no rush on that. But thank you again to to Random House World and Random House Audio for those review copies. In terms of news, again, not real Star Wars news out there. D23 is this coming week, so there's going to be, I believe Ahsoka Season 2 is going to have a presence there. I doubt we'll get a trailer, some images, some stills, some information about what the season's going to be about. I'm sure we'll get those, but nothing more than that, I think. Maybe we'll get a little snippet. It'll be fun. And so we'll get some images and we'll start going crazy with theories and all that stuff. The only thing that kind of came out, we just had a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if I talked about this. I want to say I didn't. During San Diego Comic-Con, during the MCU panel, so Ryan Gosling and Sean Levi, the actor, the lead actor and director for the upcoming Star Wars movie Starfighter, got brought into the MCU for Ghost Rider as the lead and as the director of that movie. So everyone, of course, is going nuts saying what we're getting for Starfighters might be pretty good if they already moved those guys into the MCU to a big property as Ghost Rider. Same actor, same director working together. I believe Kevin Feige said he'd seen Starfighter and he's really excited about that. Again, I don't expect them to say that it sucked, but if he saw it, I like what they were doing there and wants to bring them on. So that kind of bodes well for the next Star Wars movie. So hopefully Starfighter knocks it out of the park when it comes out in, I don't even, 6 months from now, a little bit more, 9 months. So. All right, so with that said, let me get my stuff in order. We're gonna go to, this is not what I wanted. In a minute, give me 1 minute. I know how to do this. I know how to do this, guys. All right, here we are now. Here we are. And as we jump into our main topic today, as I mentioned, it's that new Star Wars series or limited series, The Ninth Jedi. Star Wars Visions presents The Ninth Jedi. All episodes drop this week. I believe it was on Wednesday. All 8 episodes drop. Regardless if I watch all of them or not, I was only going to talk about the first 4 today. The next week, when Otis back, we'll talk about the final 4 episodes. So today, we're only focusing on the first 4, which is perfect because I've only watched 4 anyways. I watched the 4th one this morning. So it's a little bit fresh on my mind. I've only watched all of them once. So excuse me if I miss a little things here or there. My notes, not all over the place, but we'll see how it goes. And if you've watched those already, let me know in the chat what you thought about them. What were some of your favorite moments, favorite characters, what you think of the series so far. We'll discuss those as we go along. So first 4 episodes, a new threat, a hidden weapon, voice from the past, and Nawaam attack. These were very... there was action. They work together great. So I'm glad that I'm doing this first 4 and then I'll do the other 4. It doesn't kind of leave, it does leave a little bit of cliffhanger, but it kind of works as an arc from where we start the show to where it's going. But let's talk first about the look of the show. Similar to what we did when we talked about the Darth Maul episodes, Shadow Lord, I'm not gonna go episode 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll just talk overall and kind of mesh things here and there from each episode. So the animation style, I've been a fan of the Visions animation style since the first episode dropped on Visions Season 1. And then as that progressed to Season 3 with Children of Hope, and now I'm a huge fan of this anime style. So I was glad that they brought this into a longer series. The space chase battles are great. The way the show starts, Kara's ship is being chased by this big, looks almost like a gunship, like a double-barrel gun. This evil guy is pursuing her. There's this scene around a black hole that looks great. So just the animation style, the way the ships move around the galaxy and through outer space looks great. The ship design, again, for the Jedi and Geno, who's the bad guy in this first episode that's chasing her, are, again, they're different, but they feel Star Wars, right? That Jedi ship, that Kara, and I guess this is Magrave Juro's ship. It's kind of a mix between the Millennium Falcon what is it, the Ebon Hawk, but also has two big engines in the back, so it's its own thing, but kind of brings that back into those classic ship. So it puts you into Star Wars real quick. I love the design of Nawans, which were kind of made believe that this new Sith out there. As you progress through the show, you kind of learn a little more about him, but very classical Sith, very Darth Vader looking, Kylo Ren, big black helmet, black coat, looks great. His voice behind the helmet reminded me of Kylo Ren's voice, which was pretty cool. So it's a great design for this new villain character. That droid design, especially the bad guys droids, is awesome. There's this in that first episode, I think it is this droid that looks almost like a droideka, but it's kind of upside down with the legs as blasters. There's some black battle droids, the new probe droid. So all the droid designs, again, very Star Wars or very new. Also, the unique lightsabers, not just the color, but the hilts. I love Magrave Juro's lightsaber has a little halo on the bottom. So yeah, design-wise, visually, the visual style, the design of the show, everything about it kind of caught my attention real early. So I love that I'm able to enjoy it from the get-go. And then hopefully the story kind of catches to what that design style. And as we've gone through, then I think it does. I think it does there. The music, of course, is great. You don't get the classic Star Wars themes, which is fine. They do their own thing, but it still feels in the same universe. So I did enjoy so far the musical score. So again, that's just kind of to start kind of off just watching the initial episodes, how it kind of brings you in with that unique style. So let's talk about the story real quick. So where does this pick up? If you haven't watched the first and second episodes from Star Wars Visions, from the Ninth Jedi in season 1 and season 3, I think you're fine. I think they do a good job in kind of dropping you off in the story and telling you what's happened. Basically, our main character, La Cara, along with this Jedi Master Magrave Juro, so another Jedi, kind of this huge dog, Homan, and old droid Gramps. I love those four together. So they're in a search for Lara's dad, Lashima. So just right off the bat, if you haven't seen those first episodes, or from season 1 and 3 of The Ninth Jedi, you kind of know what the story is. One of the great things about Star Wars, they can just drop you off in the middle of a story and you kind of pick up where it's going. I think they did a great job. Even if you haven't watched those initial episodes, or if you watched them once when they dropped years ago and you haven't watched them recently, then you're right there. You don't need to kind of, let me go back and rewatch them. It will help, of course. I didn't go back and rewatch them. I kind of, okay, I understand where I'm at. So we have Magrave Juro. Juro, again, this Jedi Master that we met in the first season of Star Wars Visions, is trying to bring back the Jedi Order that was part of in season 1, trying to get some Jedi around to put the gang back together. So he's trying to revive the Jedi Order, or at least he's looking for Jedi and allies. So they have this big bad out there in in Nawaam that they have to deal with. So he's trying to kind of rebuild the Order, or at least find some lost Jedi that can help. Then on the bad side, we have Nawaam and this, his apprentice. The way he kind of sets the story when you just look at the trailer and the way the hierarchy are, looks like Nawaam is the Sith leader, and then Gino is his apprentice. That's the way it looks. But as you go through the story, Nawaam keeps calling Gino, the last Sith. Like he's the last Sith there. So it's kind of, okay, I thought both of you were Sith, but he refers to Gino as the last of the Sith. And they're trying to stop our main heroes, which are Jedi. Lara is Cara, is a Padawan. We have the Master Juro, Homan, trying to stop the Jedi in their quest of finding her father and rebuilding the Order. So very Star Wars. So the Jedi trying to bring back the Jedi Order, and the evil bad guys are trying to stop the Jedi Order from coming back. We have this other character that we meet in season 1 of Star Wars Visions, The Ninth Jedi, is called Ethan, and a little pill droid, 4 9s. Don't remember them doing too much in the third season of Visions of the Ninth Jedi, but I really don't remember too much about it. But right now they're off doing their own thing because they infiltrated Nawaam's base or his planet where he's kind of have everything going on. They're infiltrated there and trying to find Sima. La Sima was again Kara's dad. They infiltrated the base again. Very Star Wars. The good guys infiltrate the bad guys' base and trying to help to get him out to spring him from his prison. In Star Wars fashion, we visit a lot of new planets. We meet a bunch of eccentric characters, a bunch of cool aliens, cool planets. So again, and it's something that Visions has done great. Is even if these stories are non-canon, are totally different from anything we've seen in Star Wars, the good ones, the great stories still make it feel like you're in the Star Wars universe. And I think these first 4 episodes of the Ninth Jedi do that also very well. We start by going to a new planet called Makomako. We meet there the leader of the place is called Don Bai. This older Jedi, or used to be a Jedi, Juro knew him, trying to recruit him back. But he's kind of done with being Jedi now. He's just running this, making sure that the people of Makomako are taken care of, more kind of I forget the word, but not in the Jedi sense. It's I gotta take care of my people with commerce and all that. I'm not gonna go back into the Jedi Order. Your numbers are too low anyways. You'll never bring back the Jedi Order. So it kind of pulls a little bit of a downer for our heroes when they hear that on that first episode. Then we also go to a new planet called Bivin, Planet Bivin. This is, I think, the planet we spend the most time in these first 4 episodes. We get there on the second episode, and all through episode 3 and 4, we're in that area, kind of in that space around this planet. We learn very cool that there used to be a Jedi Academy on Bivin. Now it's ruled by by Lady Tafla, who's kind of the ruler of Bivin. And we also meet Quana, another ex-Jedi. He's now part of this mining guild in Bivin. So Bivin basically has this asteroid belt. And I love the design. The mining operation is built inside the giant asteroids. There's ships built into smaller asteroids. So just visually looking very dramatic. Kind of, there's a giant asteroid and there's ships and there are people working there and living. So it's a very cool design. Again, the design and the way the team kind of worked around what each planet was going to be, what new can we bring that still feels like Star Wars, but in this anime kind of world and design. Just the Bivin asteroid mining was just awesome to see. So those are some of the new places and new people that we find. So let's talk about our heroes and villains. We're following La Cara. We know her from the first episode of The Ninth Jedi. She's our main character. She's searching for her father, La Shima. Along the way, she's learning some secrets about his past or her dad's past. She's training as a Padawan to Master Magrave Juro. So again, it's following this character very similar to us, how we follow Luke Skywalker, how we follow Rey, in that it kind of came not out of nowhere, because her dad, when we meet them in the first episode, on the first season, I should say, is a lightsaber swordsmith, right? He builds lightsaber for Jedi. So she knows a little bit about this world, but she's never trained as a Jedi. But she's our new kind of hero thrown into a larger galaxy. And she's in her quest to find her father, who was kidnapped at the end of that first episode. She learns some secrets about herself, secrets about her dad. How is that relationship gonna work? Again, very Star Wars, and there's secrets are there. You think you know someone, but there's some secrets lying around. You got to figure out how that's going to impact your life. So she's a very interesting character. I don't know if headstrong is the correct word, but she's very steadfast in believing her dad, and believing in good, believing in the light side. which is always what you want from your heroes in Star Wars. So I love La Cara so far, these first 4 episodes, and then including the original 2 from the first couple of seasons of Vision. So her master, Magrave Juro, is kind of the Obi-Wan Kenobi of this story. Of course, the new master. She's training Lara. Is not really uh, her dad's Lashima's father, which is very Star Wars. It's just they train together, but now he has this role of taking over, kind of not a fatherly figure to her, but being her master. He's trying to rebuild the Jedi Order, at least looking for allies to help against the fight against Nawaam. And I love when he keeps searching for Jedi. Some of them say, "Hey, I'm done with that fight. I'm not doing that anymore." And they're like, "Oh man, we can't find enough Jedi to do this battle." He's like, or if they're when he talks with Quana, and Quana hasn't been a Jedi for years and decades, he's like, "I'm not strong in the Force right now as much as I was before." It's like, I'm not looking for people that are strong in the Force. I'm looking for people that would fight for what's right, would fight to defend those that need help. And again, what's more Star Wars at that, right? The power of friendship. So Magrave Juro, again, this Obi-Wan Kenobi type, training Cara, as best he can as they search for her dad, trying to rebuild the Jedi Order. He knows all those places, knows all the people that are in those areas, a very knowledgeable guy. So kind of the type of master you would want out there. One of the characters that really hasn't gotten a lot to do, that has been in these stories in that first episode of Star Wars Visions, in that first of the Ninth Jedi, in that first season or series of Star Wars Vision, is the Jedi Homan. She's this big kind of wolf-looking, kind of wolf dog head. It's a big Jedi out there. He's there and he kind of helps with the fight and piloting ships and stuff of that nature. But he doesn't have really a story or an arc that goes through. At least these first 4 episodes, he's kind of there to build up the team, which is fine. But again, I maybe wish for a character that's been there since the beginning to maybe have a little bit more to do, which either having his own story or helping Cara as they go along, kind of find herself or figure herself. We haven't gotten that from him. Something happened at the end of episode 4 that maybe he has to, maybe he has to step in, but we'll see. So far, he's a good character, but hasn't had a lot to do. Then we have Ethan, which is this young Jedi Padawan that was looking for someone to train, and he joins them at the end of that first season of Ninth Jedi. And then he's there with the little pill droid 49 as infiltrators. Again, very Star Wars, very Han Solo and Luke Skywalker dressed up. He's not dressed up in Stormtrooper outfit or anything similar. Well, he does infiltrate the villain's base and is trying to, keep our heroes up to date on what's going on the bad guy's side. So of the new characters on the good guy side, on the light side, or our heroes, if you want to call it, is Quana, that old Jedi who's now a minor. He's the one that has the most to do. He showed up in the second episode, has been there through episodes 3 and 4. I'm pretty sure we might see him going forward. We learned that he trained with Magrave Juro. He trained with Lashima. He was there where everything went down and when everything changed. We'll talk about what changed and some of the secrets from this planet of Bivin and why things are the way they are now. So I did like him. He's not your stereotypical Jedi. I think that there's something great about this show. The first kind of ex-Jedi we find is now this older guy kind of just relaxing on his chair. Quana now working in this miners guild, kind of a little bit short, stalking. Again, not your stereotypical Jedi that we might find out there. But when he needs to kick some butt, he kicks butt. So he's a great character there. He gets the rest of the Miners Guild to join in the fight when some of the droid ships come in. So he's kind of that guy you want there rallying the troops around next to you. So on the evil side, I guess we have Nawaam, which talked about him a little bit. We know about him for a while now. And he has this new sidekick, which I called kind of his apprentice, called Geno. Nawaam, like I mentioned before, keeps calling him the last of the Sith, It's a cool kind of reverse to The Last Jedi, everything we've always heard on Star Wars, you're the last of the Jedi, you will be, and all that stuff. Now we have the last of the Sith. So where does Nawaam kind of fall in all this? We'll figure that out as we go along. Geno is a great character. He has a red lightsaber. It's a different type of mask, kind of just half across his face. One of his eyes is exposed. Not really an armor around him, but he's piloting this ship. He's the main general, I would say, that's following our heroes while Nawaam is on his base planning the big evil take over the galaxy side quest, I guess. It's a great scene in that first episode that I mentioned at the beginning where they have those two starships going around a black hole, and La Cara and that group uses they have a smaller ship, so they're able to pull out of that gravity well a little bit easier. This big ship that Geno is piloting is not really gonna work that way. So he uses the force to push the ship out of the gravity field, and the visuals, and again seeing a force user using the force to pull away from a black hole was pretty cool and exciting to see. So like I mentioned, there's a lot of secrets that are revealed in these first four episodes. It felt like every episode you learn something new about La Shima, about La Cara's dad. Every episode you found out something new at the same time that keep calling her Lara, sorry, La Cara finds out. So in that first episode, we find out that not just was La Shima a swordsmith, which is what we knew about him from that first season of Visions. He made lightsabers. That's why they came to grab him. And everything that happens in that first season is he's making lightsabers for these supposedly Jedi that were coming in to destroy this Magrave guy that supposedly was the evil Sith. Turned around, that was the big twist. It was the other way, but he's making all those lightsabers for all those Jedi that are coming in. So now we learn that he didn't start as a swordsman. He was actually a Jedi, and a pretty good Jedi, pretty talented Jedi, accomplished Jedi in itself. So that was a surprise for us at the audience and for Cara, who didn't think her father was a Jedi. So it was a big surprise in that first episode. So then in episode 2, we learned that not only did we just learn that he was a master, we learned that in this planet Bibin, which had the Jedi Academy, the master was killed by his apprentice, and that's what kind of led to the end of the Jedi in that planet. And then, of course, the rest of the Jedi kind of just disappeared and dissolved. Well, who was the Padawan? Oh, big surprise! It's La Shima. So not only was he a Jedi, he's the Jedi that killed his master, and then everyone kind of turned against him. So that's another reason why the people out there that used to be Jedi don't want to kind of come back, especially when they learn that Cara, Magrave, and all those people are trying to rescue him. Shima, he said, why are you trying to rescue the guy that killed our master? We're not going back to this. So that's a cool twist there, that not only was he a Jedi, he's a Jedi that killed the master. And again, Magrave Juro, La Shima, and keep forgetting his name, and Kwana all trained together in Bibin at the same time. So when La Shima killed the master, all of them were there. They all saw it. They don't know why. So again, here we go. What's really going on? Again, big Star Wars theme out there. You think you know someone, you look up to someone, maybe their path is a little bit different. So Cara has to deal with all this new information as it comes. I still want to rescue my father. I still believe. I think all these things are lies. Where's this going? Also in episode 2, we find that their master was called Reno. I think that's a first name. I didn't write it down. So Master Reno was their master. We also find out that it looks like Shima is helping Nawaam, is aiding Nawaam, because, hey, lo and behold, it's Star Wars. We got a big-ass weapon, planet-destroying weapon, powered by kyber crystals. It's a little bit different because it's a kyber cannon, basically, but the power source is not one big kyber crystal. It's hundreds and thousands of kyber crystals mashed together into a huge kyber crystal. And So they're having trouble, as always, if you're trying to do an energy weapon. It's not working trying to contain all that energy. And then Lashima comes in to help stabilize the weapon, stabilize the crystal so it works. So why is he aiding them? And that's still kind of a big question, even at the end of these first 4 episodes. So, episode 3, the big reveal here that we learn. So, Master Reno, once his Padawans were a little bit older, again, Shima, Magrave, and Kwana, he kind of takes a step back. La Shima starting to teach Padawans and kind of take over the academy a little bit. And then Master Reno starts going on diplomatic missions and kind of just focusing on that side of just building relationship with all these different planets and kind of not galaxy planets and sectors, while Shima kind of dealing more with the academy and the new recruits, the new Padawans. Shima was sent out to confront surviving Sith. He believed that they had to kill all the Sith, destroy all of them. So you start seeing that there might be a little bit of a dark side to this guy. And then they show you a confrontation between Shima and Master Reno, because it makes you think that Shima believes that the Jedi shouldn't be involved in the politics. I think that's mentioned, that Shima didn't believe the Jedi should be involved in the politics with his master kind of being out there doing all those diplomatic missions. He said, hey, we gotta fight the Sith, and that's kind of what we have to do. This is where we get our first instance of lightsabers changing color. If you watch especially the first season of Star Wars Visions in that Ninth Jedi episode, and kind of it's a big I forgot, just had the word, like a big track in this series going forward, that lightsabers change color depending on the user's state of mind, emotional well-being, kind of where they're at the moment. And this is something that we saw in that first season of The Ninth Jedi, when all those guys that we thought were Sith or bad guys, they start fighting, kind of learning what's going on. Some of the lightsabers start changing color from red to purple to then yellow or green. I mean, green or blue. So that's something that we see throughout the Ninth Jedi through storylines and all seasons. But in this series, this is the first time that we see it, with Lashima's lightsaber changing color. It turned red first, and then oh crap, he's a Sith. It's going to the dark side. But then it turns into this weird silver that we've never seen before. What does that mean? And there's something with one of those characters, Nawaam, what he believes that means. Hopefully, as the season goes on, we'll figure it out. And then he kills his master, he kills Reno, escape because everyone just saw him kill his master. And then at that point, the Jedi Order was disbanded. So again, more secrets, more reveals for Kara. Again, she went from, yeah, your dad is not a swordsmith, he's a Jedi Master. Oh yeah, he killed his master. Oh yeah, the reason that the Jedi Order doesn't exist anymore is because your dad did all this bad stuff. So she's trying to figure all this out while at the same time trying to find him. But as the story goes on, we find out that Master Reno might have not been as cool and a good guy as we thought. They find that he has this big ship inside one of the asteroids when they're trying to escape. Something that happens, I'll talk about that in a minute. They find that he has this secret compartment, this secret hole in the belly of the ship that's holding a lot of people in carbonite, like in carbon freezing. And we find out that one of the leaders, they say, oh, he had been trading with this guy and then he went missing. So we find out that he's been replacing all the officials that he was going on those diplomatic missions, basically killing them or kidnapping them, placing them in carbonite, and then replacing them with people loyal to him, so he can kind of reap the rewards and the profits from all those trading that they were doing in illegal channels. So that's when now we start to say, wait, did Shima confront him because he was going to the dark side? He was doing all this evil stuff? Or was it because of what they had been led to believe, that Shima just kind of turned to the dark side? He kind of confronted Reno because he was doing some very illegal and bad things, and that's where the fight began, and that's why he had to kill him. So again, a lot of big surprises, big twists going on those first couple of episodes. Then episode 4, we learn a little bit that Shima he wants to atone for what he did. He wants to change Nawan's views of the Force and the world around him. I'll talk about his Nawan's views in a couple of moments because the way Nawan's acting right now is based on what he saw Zima do to Master Reno. So he's trying to now, I get atone for what I did to this kid, but why does that mean he has to help him with the Kyber Crystal Cannon? I don't know if that was going to come into play later on. Oh, let me get some water. Let's talk about Nawan for a minute. Great villain. I'm gonna call him. It's not a Sith right now. I guess you could. Great design. I talked about his design already. You put him there. You put a picture. You can say, yeah, that's Star Wars. You don't need to know that this is Visions, that this is the Ninth Jedi. You see him. Hey, that's Star Wars. A mix of Darth Vader and Kylo Ren. Just the design of him, the way he speaks through his vocalizer through the mask. I'll say I've unfortunately only been able to watch in English. I'll try to go back and watch the original Japanese version. So he starts with a blue lightsaber, which is the first shot, right? So it's not a Sith. He doesn't have a red lightsaber. He starts off with this blue lightsaber, which I think we saw in the trailer. So, oh, is he a Jedi? It's not a Sith. So that's a big surprise to start with, and kind of then lends to why he's calling Gino the last of the Sith. Like, he might be your quote-unquote apprentice or your lackey, but Nawan is not a true Sith at this moment if we want to go by lightsaber colors, which for Ninth Jedi, that's kind of what it means. In Star Wars, we all know how you get to a red kyber crystal and a red lightsaber. Here's a little bit different. No red lightsaber, you're not a Sith. Talking about just introductions, even though it happened in the 4th episode when he finally goes to confront Kara, Magrave, Juro, and our heroes, he walks into the ship. Every step he takes, all the lights in the ship start blowing off as he walks in, and then just creating this dark hallway behind him. Great visual, great extension of the dark side. I love that. You want to have an introduction with a dark side character, this was a great way to do it. Just each step he takes, each light bulb out there kind of blows up, and he just irradiating dark side energy. When he's talking to Kara, when they confront each other, and she's talking about Jedi and Sith, he's like, those are archaic words. He doesn't believe that. He thinks that he's transcended to a different place. Like, there's no Jedi, there's no Sith, there's something else, and that's where I'm at the moment. That's where your dad is. That's why I'm following his footsteps. That's why I call him Master. Nawaam calls Shima Master because he thinks that they believe in the same, the Force works the same way and kind of transcended the Force. We had a great lightsaber fight between Nawaam and Kara. Again, they're in different levels right now. Maybe because they're a female and a male fighting, kind of reminds you a little bit of Rey versus Kylo Ren, especially in episode 7. The Force Awakens kind of has that, especially even though they're not fighting outside, they're fighting inside a ship. There's a moment where there's a big fire between, kind of creates this chasm between the two of them. I thought the ship was going to separate, very similar to The Force Awakens, but it doesn't happen. But it kind of gives you that little bit of a vibe. I love, again, being animation and being in this anime style, that the lightsaber fights can be all over the top and they look great, they look believable. You think those characters can do 3 backflips and kind of land in one on one leg and do a spin. It works. So that lightsaber fight was great. We learned, I think I didn't mention this, or maybe I did. So when Lashima kills Master Reno 15 years ago, whenever it was, 20 years ago, no, a little bit, that's whatever, when he killed him, Nawaam was there as a child, looking top of the balcony, seeing the battle going. He doesn't know why they're fighting. He just saw Nawaam kill a Master Reno. So at that point, he decides to follow, quote unquote, Lashima as his master. He never trained him, Seema never took him as a Padawan. He just believes that he's following his teachings, and that's why he calls him Master. What does this mean? When he saw that fight, that the will to fight, the will to kill was there for Shima. All emotions had vanished. It was an endless void of nothingness. And he wants to reach that state of nothingness that he saw, what he believed he saw from Shima. And that's why he thinks he needs to get to that level of, I'm just in a Jedi and Sith mean nothing. With our emotions, there's nothing there. And that's what he wants to reach. So again, a different view of the Force, different idea of what it means to be on the light side or the dark side. Light side says kind of there are emotions, you need to control them so they don't take over. The dark side is take all those emotions and use them. It doesn't matter what happens at the end as long as you have all this power. But he wants to get to a point where they're not even there. It's not that you control them or push them down or push them forward. There's nothing. We're in an ideal state of nothingness. During that fight, Kara hits him in the helmet, cracks like Darth Vader, everything falls off, and then you see this young guy, probably in his 20s, stark white hair, kind of gray eyes, great design also. It's a kid, basically, a young adult, I should say. Juro gets there, Magrave Juro gets there, and they will have this another great lightsaber fight, Juro and Kara versus Nawaam. And you can imagine what happens. R.I.P. Magrave Juro. We know what's happening again. I mentioned kind of threw it in there. Our Obi-Wan Kenobi character, he gets killed by Nawaam in front of Kara. He becomes one with the Force, but before he dies, he gives Kara this little wrapped gift. Basically, we haven't seen. I'm gonna say it's a lightsaber, but we haven't seen it so far. I should say, talking about his mask, Nawaam's mask, he says that he uses the mask to try to achieve this state of nothingness, which reminded me, I know it's not the same thing, but reminded me of the stranger from the Acolyte, which I know he has a cortosis mask to kind of shield himself from other Jedi sensing him, and also to kind of being on his own and be able to focus all that dark side energy. Kind of reminded me of that, in a sense, evil beings, dark side users, using a mask. Same as Kylo Ren, who uses that mask to kind of hide himself and be able to express all that negative energy or that dark side energy, using the helmet to help them focus into what they want to do. So again, a very Star Wars, especially new Star Wars way of thinking. And then during that fight between the three of them, or right after it ends, I don't remember, I think it's right before, Nawaam's lightsaber also turns silver. And that's when he believes he's achieved this level, this power beyond Jedi and Sith, that he's reached this level of nothingness that he thought he was learning from Lashima, who he called Master, to be able to reach that level. His lightsaber now matches what Shima's was when he killed Master Reno. So he's at that point like, I finally achieved this level. Now it's time to take over the galaxy. So that's more or less where the first 4 episodes end. We learn a lot about Lashima. Kara learns a lot about her dad. Unfortunately, we lose Magrave Juro. Kind of knew it was coming. I don't want to say he served his purpose, but he helped Kara reach where she's at now, gave her that gift. I'm pretty sure he'll come at some point to give Force Ghost advice to Kara when she needs it. But it's going to be interesting going forward to see how La Kara deals with all this information she's taken, has been dropped on her, basically. So does it feel like Star Wars? And that's the big thing. Doesn't matter what you do. If you say this is Star Wars, it needs to feel like Star Wars. Doesn't need to be the Skywalker saga. Doesn't need to be the rebellion against the Empire. But it still needs to feel like Star Wars. And I think it does. It does feel like Star Wars a lot. Some of it is very on the nose, like, yeah, this is basically this other stuff. But there's themes, of course, of found families, which is basically the biggest theme in Star Wars. Good versus evil, atoning for your mistakes, secrets that might push the protagonist to either the light side of the dark or the dark side. That's there. That's very Star Wars, and we see it. But there's always hope. people helping each other. That's all there. We see Kara training with the training remote and the helmet with the blast down, same as Luke Skywalker. I think Sabine in Ahsoka also did that, I believe. So again, all those Star Wars kind of images are there. Kara uses her anger when she's fighting Nawan. Every time Nawan kind of belittles her dad and makes her think that her dad is actually this evil person, she starts kind of drawing from her anger. Very Luke Skywalker when Vader's kind of, oh, maybe your sister, she'll turn to the dark side. So that's there. Magrave and what kind of saying, oh, I sense a presence. He didn't go to say a presence I haven't felt since, kind of mirroring what Darth Vader said in A New Hope. That first episode of this season, or this limited series, I should say, is very Phantom Menace. Makomako, which is that planet they visit at the beginning, looks a lot like Naboo. They're attacked by a giant ship with a large droid army. The only way to stop them is by deactivating the droid army from the main control ship. So that's very Phantom Menace there in that first episode. I mentioned about creating the Kyber Crystal energy weapon. I'll say that Kyber Crystal energy cannon was great. It felt a lot more brutal than the Death Star, than Star Killer Base. And maybe again, because it's animation, you can kind of go all over. But the way that crystals work, the way that energy kind of shoot it out of that weapon, the way it didn't hit the planet, kind of grazed the planet, and all the chunks coming out of it, dropping into the moon, dropping into the planet, creating this evacuation order. Again, the power behind that weapon was amazing to see. I think it's at one point that it works kind of like a lightsaber. So as you can imagine, you turn on a lightsaber, you get that energy field with something like that with a giant kyber crystal going across the cosmos. So we had that evacuation order, which was a big part of episode 3. Episode 3 was mostly about the evacuation. And then Kara and Lady Tafla were trapped behind a docking port, so a docking bay, and he's trying to rescue her. That episode gave me a lot of High Republic vibes, like reading High Republic novels. A lot of those books have side missions, or can be a lot of the book. It's helping a planet evacuate, especially Light of the Jedi, helping planets evacuate as a disaster is going on. We need to save people who are trapped down here. So it gave me High Republic vibes. And then episode 4 had A New Hope vibes, with Magrave kind of feeling a presence. It also have Empire Empire Strikes Back kind of vibes, so make me feel there's a big reveal coming. You can feel it. I thought that when she breaks Nawaam's helmet, and you know that reveal is gonna come, I thought it was gonna be that they were siblings, but it wasn't that. It's more that when he was there when Seema killed his master and he views Seema as his master. So that was the big reveal. It kind of gave me that sense as we were going through. So yeah, that kind of does it for my thoughts on these first 4 episodes of The Ninth Jedi. I think they work pretty well. I'm enjoying it so far. I'll wait till I finish the last 4. We'll talk about those next week with Oti. I want to see his take on the first 4 also. If this works as a limited series, as a longer series with 8 episodes, or does Star Wars Visions works best at this kind of one-off that it can go all over the place without trying to make it its own thing inside Star Wars with bigger storylines. We'll talk about that at the end after we kind of watch the whole series. So far so good. I'm enjoying it. I'm not the biggest fans that they drop all 8 episodes at once. I know that they do this with Visions with the first 3 seasons, so it makes sense that they follow it. I would prefer if they had done this as a weekly release. To each his own. I'm taking my time watching it. I'll probably watch 1 or 2 episodes tomorrow, another one next week, and so on and so forth as we get here to next Saturday. But so far, I'm enjoying it. Guys, let me know what you think so far. Star Wars Visions present The Ninth Jedi. Excuse me, I don't know why. All right, guys, so I think that for joining us. Thank you to Gail for being here. Thank you to everyone else. I saw a couple more people watching. Didn't get to jump in the chat and let us know, but if you watch the first 4 episodes, let us know what you think so far. We'll be back next week. That's the final 4 episodes of Star Wars Visions Presents-The Ninth Jedi. All right, guys, that's it. How many more times can I say we'll see you next week? But we'll see you next week. We'll see your friend Alti. We haven't seen him in about 2 months. So see you guys. Stay safe. Be safe. May the Force be with you. End transmission.